Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the United Stand. Good morning. Hope everyone is slowly but surely getting over that 4-0 defeat to Brentford at the weekend. Obviously, we've had some fan forums over Saturday and Sunday, and I've vented my frustration. And I think slowly I'm getting there, and I'm not going to say I'm over it just yet. But moving on, we've got a lot of news to get into, a lot of transfer news, a lot of speculation. Obviously, we're getting into crunch time now, and there's a week and a half or 2 weeks left of the transfer market. And with the two results that we've had, we need signings. We need to sign some players, crucially in that midfield, which is what we're going to go on to now. Obviously, it's looking very, very likely about the Adrian Rabiot deal. I'm sure we can pull a tweet up on screen about Eric Ten Hag wants two midfielders this window, with the hopes that the Adrian Rabiot deal will be done in time for the Liverpool game next Monday. Now, I think I vented my frustrations again about Rabiot and about the type of signing. I don't think he is the right signing in terms of a rebuild, but obviously it looks like we're going to get him. It's almost just now a matter of time, and I think ultimately fair enough if we're going to go and get him, get it done as quick as possible so we can move on to the next target. I think that's kind of what it comes down to for me. I think the quicker the better with this, especially going back to that tweet. If Ten Hag does want two midfielders, the quicker this one is done, the better. And I think that it's looking anywhere from 17 to around 20 million euros, which at the end of the day isn't a lot of money in terms of Manchester United spend. But uh, I've said it before. The money being used in this deal could have, been going on to the Frankie De Jong thing. And I'm not sure if us signing this Rabiot will kind of, make us not want to go or dip into the budget that was for Frankie De Jong. I'm not too sure, but I think at the end of the day, as I say, it's crunch time, and we need players, as the thumbnail says. And I think the fact that if we do go out and get De Jong as well, obviously people are going to be ecstatic. But I think, look, we've got to be honest here, guys, and say that we've spent. I think by the end of the window, it'll be something like 4 months or 5 months going for this player. And I know there's nothing concrete still. It all seems to be just going round in circles, right? There was almost a week of he was definitely going to Chelsea. And now, yeah, I'm still waking up this morning and seeing positive news surrounding Frankie De Jong, and we can get onto some Frankie De Jong news later on into the show. But I think going back to Rabiot, it's more for me a fair enough. We're going for him. I appreciate it. It's another signing, and I think I was saying off air, before we went live, about kind of my opinions on him, and I don't think he's going to come in and revolutionize this team or the midfield. I think he will be better than Fred and McTominay, but ultimately he's not the guy that's going to come in and be that focal point of the team and make things click. He could come in and be extremely good against. I don't know whether he'd be available for that Liverpool game, but whoever his debut might be, he could come in and obviously be very, very good. And we all might be sitting there thinking, what a steal, what a bargain. And that's the beautiful thing about hindsight. And yeah, I'm not sure what you guys think about Rabiot. I am sure about what most of you guys think about the Rabiot deal. But a lot of people are saying that he is a very, very good midfielder, and I appreciate your opinions. And yeah, Rabiot is all right, and I think Rabiot is a stopgap, and I think that is almost what it comes down to, and we're, as I say, it's crunch time, and we're getting to that point in the window where obviously the closer it is to the end of the transfer window, the higher the price is raised. And I said this about the Anthony deal, that the closer we get to the end of the transfer window, the more Ajax were going to ask in terms of a fee for him, which I understand, because these clubs obviously need to find replacements for players, or not even necessarily if they want a replacement. They just, they're losing a player which they might not even want, but they can just leverage different ways. And obviously clubs are very, very clever about how, they go about their business. And I think that obviously we can kind of lead off the back of Rabiot and the possibility of Frankie de Jong with departures. And there was actually a tweet that emerged this morning, and it says Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Diogo Dalot are among the names on Barcelona's shortlist for the right back position. Now, this is interesting. Obviously, we knew about Aaron Wan-Bissaka being kind of transfer listed, and him being available for clubs to kind of offer and inquire about. Unfortunately, there doesn't, I don't know, seem to be much going on in terms of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But it's interesting that the opportunity has arisen for maybe Dalot to venture out. I think it's a very difficult one. There was also talks for a swap deal with Serginho Dest from Barcelona, because they're looking for another right back. Obviously, why they're looking at Wan-Bissaka and Diogo Dalot. And I think Diogo Dalot has been, in all honesty, he's been a really poor the past 2 games. I think he's looked very, very fragile in his defending. I don't think he's offered much in terms of an attacking output. And I think I said this on the forum on Saturday. I was optimistic for Dalot coming into the season. I thought he'd suit Ten Hag's style of play, and almost you have seen it occasionally where I think when Maguire gets the ball in that kind of right centre back position, instead of Dalot hugging the touchline, you'll see him come into a right centre midfield position, and Sancho will drop into almost like a wing back position. So it's kind of an inverted wing back that Dalot is trying to play. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, and it's very hard to think about going off the back of the 2 performances that we've just had with Brighton and Brentford. But I think there is a player in a lot of the players at Manchester United, but it's just whether they want to get it out of themselves. I think Dalot is a good player and can be a good player. It's just whether he can be a good player at Manchester United. And I think the maybe the best possibility for him is to move on. If we were going to go for someone, like a swap deal like Dest, as I said, obviously, what do we know about Dest? He's obviously at Barcelona at the minute, but he was at Ajax, came through the Ajax academy, and yeah, looks like a half decent player. Isn't too bad. Can't say I've seen him play very much. He's 21, I think he is. So he's not obviously, he's still a kid. He's 4 years younger than me. It's incredible. But again, where do we rank the right back position in terms of priority of where we need to improve? We need to improve the midfield. There is no shadow of a doubt that the midfield is a very, very important part of that team that needs to be improved. And if we don't improve the midfield, I think again, we can go out there and almost get these individual positions, whether it's a forward, a fullback, even a backup goalkeeper, someone that's going to challenge with De Gea. But I think the whole time you don't change that midfield and improve on that midfield, we're always going to struggle. You see in both games, Brighton and Brentford, Caicedo absolutely, the Brighton game obviously, absolutely made McTominay look like a child. He played him off the park, and then the Brentford midfielders, it just shows that I can't even remember the quote off the top of my head, but when a player or players want to work harder than, and clearly they do work harder than a lot of our players, they just walk them off the park, and it's horrible to see. And I think the fact that obviously the players were back in for training yesterday, and obviously there was I think something like Brentford ran nearly 14 kilometers more than us in the game, which obviously Ten Hag was probably disgusted with. He was making them obviously work and run for that amount of time. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments about the possibility of a swap deal, or Barcelona going in for Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. I'm going to presume that you're with me in the sense that Wan-Bissaka's, I'm kind of done with Wan-Bissaka, and I think that's probably what Ten Hag is looking at, right? He's looking at Dalot not playing very well. I have seen that Ten Hag is a very keen admirer of Dalot and thinks that he can be very, very keen to the project that is going on at Manchester United right now. But yeah, I mean, ultimately after those 2 games, I think Dalot's been very, very poor, and I'd be open to kind of letting him go, and obviously I'm just looking at the screen and seeing the little Premier League table pop up every now and again, and just seeing Manchester United at the bottom with 0 points, 2 losses from 2, and a -5 goal difference it is honestly disgusting, and it is putrid. But again, outgoings, we're going to stick with that. I could bring another tweet up on screen from Samuel Luckhurst here. Manchester United have decided to sell James Garner and value him between 15 and 20 million. Nottingham Forest and Tottenham are interested. I have also seen a few other clubs are interested in him. I think it was the likes of, I want to say Leeds as well. I think I do have some strong views when it comes to Garner, even Van der Beek. I think, and I did put a tweet out actually as well saying, what have these guys actually got to do to kind of not necessarily even get a start, right? Like Garner hasn't played any minutes. He obviously suffered an injury in pre-season, but Van der Beek has come on in both games and probably got a combined minutes of, I don't know, 8, 10 max. Like what has this kid got to do to get on for 15, 20 minutes just to show a glimpse of, what he can do? And when you're losing 4-0, and obviously Ten Hag came out afterwards and said, I changed 3 at half time. I could have changed them all. And obviously you don't want to make 5 subs at half time with the possibility of someone then getting injured and not being able to kind of do anything about that. I understand that. But you're 4-0 down, just give the guy some minutes, right? And a lot of people, again, when I tweeted, were saying he's been under 3 managers now. He maybe he's just, need to face the facts he's not good enough. And it's fair enough. But if you're telling me he's not good enough in comparison to McTominay and Fred, then holy crap, we have an issue. That even our depth is not compatible. And I know a lot of people think that he's almost that player that doesn't suit the Premier League, and I mean he needs to bulk up and stuff. But I think if you're Van der Beek and Garner, I think you're fuming, and we can go back obviously to the tweet with with Garner, sorry. And I think 50, if we get in the region of 15, 20 million, yeah, I mean I'd take it. He obviously has hardly played any games for Manchester United. He had a good season for Forest last season, but I think it's almost too little, too late. I think if it's looking likely that when Rabiot comes in, or because Rabiot is coming in, or whoever it may have been, a midfielder, that Garner's then going to be moved on. And I'm honestly surprised. You look at the Telles deal is obviously a loan. I'd prefer if Garner went on loan, right? Like he's young, hungry. He obviously wants to. I think he made it known that he was very keen on being a part of the first team and not just sitting on the bench. And good. I feel like he's deserved minutes, especially after those 2 performances. Coming off the back of that tweet, I mean, I wouldn't expect to see him feature anytime soon. I mean, ultimately, I don't think there'll be many changes to the team against Liverpool. To be fair, as much as I'd love to change the whole 11, I think Beth mentioned it really well in the forum on yesterday and said, why should these guys get a free weekend, right? The likes of Maguire and stuff, they should go to the home fans and get hammered really for the performances of the against Brentford, and I don't think there will be too many changes, but yeah, I mean ultimately Garner, if we do sell him, I'd like for there to be a buyback option. I know that's obviously a possibility, depending on obviously how much that is, and obviously it will depend on how much you sell him for. Obviously, the more you sell for, the more the buyback option is going to be. If we were to sell him for 15 million, what's the buyback option going to be? Maybe double, maybe 2.5 times. Maybe it would be 35, 40 million, something like that. Because I do think this kid's got potential, and it's a shame to see. It's a shame to see. If it was a loan with obviously, he'd go out on loan. But again, I understand why he'd necessarily not want to go out on loan, and I think I get it. And there's I mean, look, I'd straight up if an offer for McTominay came in, whether it was £5, 5 million, 10 million, he'd be gone in my books. He'd be straight out the door, and Garner would probably be in place of him. In all honesty, obviously, Garner could have played in these 2 matches, and he could have had a stinker as well, and we could be telling a very, very different story. But there's obviously a lot of change that kind of needs to happen. But yeah, I mean, to kind of finish on the Ghana situation, I think, yeah, if I was him, I'd be livid, and I'd be, if this situation is, is true, that we're fully ready to let him go. I'm hearing it's obviously got to be for the right price, which again, what is the right price? We're hearing maybe between 15 and 20 million, but I think, someone could come in with a 14 million bid, and it's like, no, we're not doing that. We'll hold out for an extra 1 million or something, and then we don't sell him. We don't get the extra money into the kitty to possibly go and buy someone else. Sell Ghana will be a mistake. Loan only, says excuse me, Lil Taliano. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying, right? I think a loan would make sense, or even if we are to sell him, I think the buyback option would make sense also. But we can go on to some Cristiano Ronaldo related topics as well. We can also bring another tweet up on screen. It is now thought Ten Hag would be open to allowing Cristiano Ronaldo to leave the club, but only if Manchester United recruit in the forward position. Ultimately, I can't lie, I think this is, I don't want to swear on an early morning show. I might have already let one slip, but I apologise. But it's a load of BS, in my opinion. I don't think it's true. I mean, why this whole time has Ten Hag, been saying Ronaldo's part of the plans. We don't want to sell him, and obviously the club is wanting to keep him for financial reasons. And obviously he's in my opinion our best player, hands down. Was our best player last season, scoring obviously 18 Premier League goals, or however many it was. I think, why all of a sudden now, and obviously Sky put out the tweet, I think it was yesterday, of about terminating the contract. Like, where, I don't understand, where is this stuff actually coming from? Like, I don't get it, because they've obviously since deleted the tweet, but why? And I would actually, the funny thing is, I wouldn't actually put it past Manchester United, but when a player is wanting to leave and you don't want that player to leave, but I don't know, let's just say the right offer came in for him, obviously you're then going to let him go. But why would you terminate his contract just because, you know, you want him to come around, and if his attitude is a little bit, rubbish at the minute, you want to sweeten him up. You want to obviously improve that attitude, and then therefore obviously get the best performances out of him. Why would you then just go, oh well, your attitude stinks, we're just going to terminate your contract, and give him what he wants? That gives him the out of the club, where then whoever he, I'm sure if his contract was terminated, that it would make it a lot easier for a Champions League club, to obviously come in for him, because I'm sure, I mean, he's already taken a 25% pay cut for obviously us missing out on the Champions League. So yeah, he'd probably lower his wages again, and obviously the buying club wouldn't have to pay a fee to Manchester United. So ultimately, I think it's a load of rubbish. I think, again, I just don't understand. I just don't understand where it's coming from, and it's a very difficult situation, the whole Ronaldo thing. Martinez Garner Ericsson versus Liverpool, says Manchester United. I mean, well, as a midfield, it's interesting. We can actually maybe get on to Martinez in midfield a little bit later on. But this is another interesting topic coming from The Athletic. Manchester United are considering a move for Jamie Vardy, but Leicester are reluctant to let him go. Now, I think, obviously we heard a little bit about this. I want to say it was a couple of weeks ago. There was almost like flutters of Jamie Vardy's name being mentioned, and I think my first instant reaction is obviously no, straight away no. He's 35 or something, and he doesn't really suit the all the other strike options that Ten Hag's kind of been looking at, I guess, have been very different, in the sense that they've been a target man. They've almost been like 6'3" plus, someone to almost hold the ball up, have that link up play. And Jamie Vardy isn't stereotypically that guy. He likes the ball in behind. He likes to obviously to have them through balls to latch onto. Don't get me wrong. Great player, I think. Obviously, hasn't reached the heights of his previous kind of seasons, but that kind of is natural with the age. Obviously they Leicester brought in Paston Daka, I think it is, and they're kind of sharing minutes now, it seems. But the more I kind of think about it, I think it's a player that, it comes down to variables, and I think it's a player that I don't think we'd necessarily, or he wouldn't want a ridiculous wage. I can't see him being on a ridiculous wage at Leicester, and I can't see them wanting a significant fee for him. Obviously, I understand that they'd be reluctant to sell. He's a very good rotation player. Daka and him can rotate. Very good at both. Kind of playing in that forward position. But at this point in time, when we're looking at it, as we've said before, it's not even just plan C, D. We're scraping the barrel. We're looking at E, F, G type players. I think probably Vardy is one of the better options that you can go for. Obviously, he wouldn't sign on a long contract. He'd probably be a 1-2 year deal, maybe, which would obviously mean that his wages would naturally get a little bit higher. But I mean, there's obviously countless players that we've been linked with, and Alec Piercy Property is saying Kovacic and Ziyech are open to joining. Go and get them. I mean, we can touch on again the kind of midfield options in a minute, but Jamie Vardy I think would be one of the better options in my opinion. But again, I just think that this isn't the type of player that a rebuild signing needs. He might be obviously that he might give that little bit of experience. Again, we've got to remember this guy is a Premier League winner, FA Cup winner. I'm not sure what else Leicester have won, but yeah, he's won trophies with them, and he will run a lot, and he will be that pressing forward that Ten Hag might want. The only downside is obviously the age, the how much we're going to necessarily get out of him. He'd obviously be a rotation player with Martial and Ronaldo. I think that's a given, really. But I think when you're obviously comparing him to when we were linked with Arnautovic, he's obviously a lot better of an option to that. But again, it kind of wouldn't make sense. There was obviously the case recently. I can't remember what it was called, obviously, but it was with Vardy's wife and Wayne Rooney's wife. And would it make sense to sign the husband to his wife? Obviously, that's kind of how it usually works. But yeah, would it kind of make sense after what's gone on with that to then, I don't know, would it be seen as stabbing Wayne Rooney in the back a little bit? I'm not too sure. But yeah, I mean, in terms of pure football, and in terms of like the options that we've been presented with, he isn't one of the worst ones. Charles Van Onselen is saying, Morata, how much clearer can I make it for you, Charlie? And we can actually talk about Morata. Actually, we do have a tweet we can bring up on screen from the Athletic again. Manchester United continues to scour the market for options up front, and Alvaro Morata has been presented as an option. Now, how is Morata crappy? I didn't actually say he was crappy yet, but obviously you can see that how he's performed in the Premier League for Chelsea, and I think it actually surprised me, his goal record. I think he scored like I don't know, maybe it was like 1 in every 3 games near enough or something like that for them. So, but all I can think of is when he was there, and again, Chelsea haven't been kind of blessed with the number 9 position over the years, and they've obviously got a stereotypical thing that whenever a striker goes there, it tends to flop, right? And obviously we know the situation that obviously they've had with Lukaku recently. But I just think we're scraping the barrel again. If you were to give me an option between Vardy and Morata, I'd take Vardy. I just think with Morata, he's had that Premier League experience, and it obviously, I mean, I think he'd say that it didn't go very well for him. And yeah, he might be a cheap alternative and a cheap option, but I mean, when a guy's come to the Premier League, and I can just picture in my head the misses and the the memes that will come out that a Chelsea flop, as they'd say, would come to Manchester United, and I just don't see it working out, to be fair. And I think the fact that we're in for him again, I'm saying it, but it's scary, like the direction that Manchester United is going in when it comes to the players that we're going for, and the time that it's taking to go for these players. Even fair enough, if we were, again, I wouldn't agree with it, but if we were linked with Vardy and Morata at the start of the window, fair enough. Like, at least you could go say that they were plan A and Ten Hag wanted them from the start. But Ten Hag has clearly put a list to the board. XYZ player. Oh, we can't go and get those, so we're gonna just shuffle through 6 or 7 pages of names and pick a random name out of the hat and go and get him. And yeah, it's a strange one for me. And I think it just doesn't make sense ultimately. And a lot of people are saying the same as well. So yeah, I think again we can move on to some De Jong news, which is interesting, and it was actually a tweet after Mark did the show on Talksport last night, and yeah, Mark's tweeted out saying, interesting chat on the Talksport transfer hub tonight. Mentioned to Alex Crook that I'd heard this morning that De Jong would be a United player by the Liverpool game, and he said he'd heard the same story. So will it happen? Now, guys, I can't lie. When I saw this tweet, it actually got me a little bit excited. I can't lie to you. It got me a little bit excited, and I think I think Jesus, I think yeah, it was. It's a good thing to see, right? And as I said at the start of the show, it's good to still see positive news surrounding the Frankie De Jong saga with Manchester United, and I think yeah, it when obviously he went through that period of being linked with Chelsea, there's obviously still that going on. But when there's certain things being floated around, like why are we still being linked with this player? If there tends to be no smoke without fire, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was Frankie De Jong, I'd stay as far away from Manchester United as possible, and I think that's a given. I think a lot of people would also do that. Why would you want to come to a club that's just lost to Brighton and Brentford and only scored 1 goal and it was an own goal? And again, the thing I worry about is if we go out and get Frankie De Jong, and obviously the Rabiot deal's done, we play a midfield of Rabiot, Frankie De Jong, and then Eriksen or Bruno, whoever it may be. Does that scream? That still doesn't scream like a Champions League contending for top four. I mean, side to me. I mean, especially on the form that Bruno's on. Obviously, we'd have to wait and see kind of how they, Frankie De Jong and Rabiot play together. But ultimately, it's brilliant. It's brilliant that ultimately I think that we're still in for this player. And again, I'm obviously a very positive person when it comes to this, and I think slowly throughout the year you'll see this positivity fade. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I mean it's great that we're still being linked, and I think if he is a Manchester United player by the end of the window, obviously a lot of fans are going to be happy. I will be happy. I'm sure even you guys will be happy, and I think the main factor is obviously how long it has taken to get done, and he's not obviously would have had the pre-season time with Erik Ten Hag that obviously Erik Ten Hag would have liked, and I think there's a lot that he might not come in and light the world alight. That's all I'm saying. Iñaki Williams, Athletic Bilbao striker and right wing cover, says Pete Phillips. Iñaki Williams, is that the geezer who hasn't like missed a game for them in something like 5 seasons or something? He literally plays like every single game. It's absolutely incredible. But yeah, I think we can again touch on some possible outgoings in relation to Eric Bailly here. Bring another tweet up on screen from Laurie Whitwell. Manchester United have fielded inquiries on Eric Bailly from several teams with talks progressing. United would prefer a straight sale, but a loan is also possible. All suitors ideally want a loan deal. where United subsidise his wages, but United want direct transfer. Again, if we're gonna sell these guys, we need to sell them. We can't just keep loaning players out. If we're going to loan him out, there needs to be an obligation to buy, not just the option. There needs to be the obligation. I agree that if Bailly isn't going to play this season, we need to sell him. Arguably, I think he's actually one of probably our better defenders. I think Jordan says it very well in the sense that you got to play him till he breaks. And I think in pre-season he actually showed he got 2 assists in 2 games, playing just 45 minutes each game. He shows he is a little bit of an odd centre half. He is the no nonsense centre back that will just, I don't know. Sometimes he's like a Labrador chasing a tennis ball. He just has to go after the ball and will absolutely clean wipe you out to get it, which I love in some aspects. And again, I remember the performance that he put in against Leicester, where him and Jamie Vardy, and it was were playing against each other, and it was an incredible battle. But if we're gonna sell these players that aren't going to play for us, we need to actually make some money that then gets put back into the transfer kitty, whether that is in time to make more signings this summer or whether it goes into January. There needs to be sales made, and we're getting, again, as I say, to crunch time. And I think the fact that it's getting to crunch time and we need to start offloading these players, the likes of Wan-Bissaka, Eric Bailly, Phil Jones, these guys, and obviously the wages they're on will be a significant factor in why, again, it says there that teams want to take them on loan, with Manchester United subsidising some, however what kind of, what percent that may be, whether it's half of it. We obviously don't want that, right? We want to get these guys off the wage bill, get some money back in the kitty, and kind of move on from there. Why are we treating De Jong as the second coming of Christ? He isn't going to come in and defend or score, and that's where the problems are. I actually disagree with you, man. I agree with a part of your statement. I think obviously he's not going to come in alone. Again, this is the same as Rabiot, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to come in and be the catalyst to kickstarting our season, in the sense that we're just going to play magnificent football all of a sudden and be top 4 contenders. I don't think that's going to happen. But you're obviously saying that he isn't going to come in and defend or score, and that's where the problems are, mate. There's actually so many problems like that are there. Not just the fact that we can't defend or score, and it's not just as simple as that either. I'm afraid. Like, it's there's just a lot to sort out. And again, we talk about priority signings and getting that midfield sorted and getting the midfield ticking and people playing in midfield who are comfortable receiving the ball from the defense and dictating play. You'll notice that, even if our defense and Maguire can't defend, they will have less defending to do, because there will be a better battle in midfield when you haven't got McTominay and Fred just running around like headless chickens. You've got McTominay kicking the ball out of play and giving the ball back to the opposition. It's not as simple as that. But yeah, I agree that I don't think he'll come in and light the world on fire and be the guy that, he's not the midfielder that scores 15 goals a season. And yeah, it's just not going to happen. But so we can talk about it's again from the Athletic. I'm not sure if we can bring this one up on screen or not, but Manchester United are working hard on adding both competition for De Gea and much needed reinforcements up top. I think this, for me, is we can. I just want to talk about the competition for De Gea. I think we definitely do need competition for De Gea. Obviously, off the back of that, I'm guessing Tom Heaton isn't. He's obviously moved down to the Lee Grant type level of, he might play 1 game or 2 games if there was a goalkeeper crisis or something drastic happened. But we do need that competition for De Gea, and ultimately, I don't see us getting a goalkeeper this window. We were linked to one goalkeeper who actually did move to someone else. God forbid, I can't remember his name, but I think the fact that we are linked with someone else, we are wanting to add competition. Sorry, I think is obviously a good thing. And yeah, I mean, just from the two games against Brighton and Brentford, I think you can quite clearly see that De Gea is struggling with the way that Eric Ten Hag wants to play. Obviously, the play out the back, and De Gea doesn't seem too comfortable with the ball at his feet. His his distribution, it doesn't seem too good either. So I think the competition. Ultimately, I'd go out there and probably get someone like a Sanchez from Brighton. Maybe he's obviously really good with his feet. I think yeah, he'd be a great option. I think even Brentford's keeper, is it David Raya? I think you say his name. I think would be a great addition as well. I mean, and these guys are ahead of De Gea for the Spain national team as well. And you're looking at who's our number one, and you've got Brentford, who are, don't get me wrong, were hands down better than us, but on paper shouldn't be, and their keeper is number one for Spain. But yeah, it kind of is what it is. But yeah, we'll move on to a tweet from Fabrizio saying United are having some initial contacts with Cody Gakpo's agents. He could be one of the options. Now, obviously I don't believe I've spoke about Gakpo, and again, I don't know too much about him. He'd obviously, I think, be coming in as a that almost step down from Anthony type winger role. You look at his stats, and he's obviously scored a handful of goals in the Dutch, the Eredivisie, and I think depending on the price, again, as I say, as I've been saying, these guys need to pull their finger out, and when I say these guys, the board, and they need to go out there and get these signings. It's and as the thumbnail says, and alludes to, we need players in this club. When you lose, Pogba, Matic, Mata, all these type of players, and obviously, hopefully, when you've got Phil Jones, Eric Bailly, Wan-Bissaka, these type of guys leaving as well, regardless of whether you think, what you think of their quality, these guys need to be replaced. And we've lost. You add Cavani to that list as well. We've lost a Lingard. We've lost a handful of players and not replaced them in terms of squad depth, in my opinion. And I don't think that we will either. I don't think there's enough players or enough time to bring enough players in to warrant the kind of the big change. I mean, again, I'll try to stay optimistic, and I'll try to be that glass half full guy, but it's becoming difficult. It's becoming very, very difficult. And I think we've also been linked to another forward, and again, I haven't heard too much about him, but it's a guy called Raul de Thomas. I think this was a Fabrizio tweet as well. I'm not sure if we can bring it up on screen, but yeah, apparently he is still available on the transfer market, and Manchester United have been advised of the player's availability. I'm not sure if you guys know of this player. He plays for Espanyol. He actually was at Real Madrid a couple of years ago. I think he went on loan or moved to Benfica. He's 27, 5'10", obviously a centre forward. And I think, again, this is a kind of a strange one. I think he scored 35 goals in 81 games for Espanyol. And I think it's a weird one, because obviously we've gone from being linked with strikers who are like 6'3" plus, who are big, strong, tall guys, target man type players, and now we're being linked to a geezer and Vardy as well. I don't know how tall Vardy is, but even if he is tall, he doesn't play that type of target man style. We're being linked to a 5'10" guy who, I don't know, maybe he does play maybe his style of play is that target man type thing, but I think there's only a certain amount. You come up against some huge defenders in the Premier League, Van Dijk, just to name one. And I think yeah, it's look, guys. I think at the end of the day, to kind of round the show off, I think that yeah, we desperately need to bring players in. And I've just seen a super chat that I want to address actually. Charlie, I think it's disgusting how you, Beth, and Adam throw De Gea under the bus after one bad game and ignore what he did last season. It's interesting how you think I'm throwing him under the bus, by the way, because actually, if you go back to a previous show I did with Mark, I actually said that De Gea is one of our better players, and it is probably one of the best goalkeepers when it comes to shot stopping and stuff. So it's interesting to hear your point of view in terms of you think that I'm throwing him under the bus after one bad game, uh, and I think I did say again in that show that we will quickly find out whether he can play the way that Ten Hag wants, and I think I mean we don't he again like he has, and I think arguably you can say that he didn't play well against Brighton either. The One of the goals against Brighton, he had crisp packet hands, which usually he doesn't have. Like, don't get me. Usually he is very good at shot stopping, very good at palming the ball away. So there isn't that play that can come in on the rebound. But I wouldn't say I'm throwing him under the bus. I think I'm just being honest in the fact that from what I have seen from the past two games, I think that if we carry on playing him in goal, and don't get me wrong, I think we will carry on playing him in goal because we won't go and get another option. I so what's Ten Hag going to have to do? Is he going to have to sacrifice that playing out from the back and kind of what Martinez has been used to at Ajax is receiving the ball off the keeper and being comfortable passing the ball back to the keeper, which is fine. But as soon as you put that little bit of pressure on De Gea, the distribution lets him down. And I mean, again, I wouldn't say I was throwing him under the bus. But yeah, it's interesting to obviously hear your guys' point of view. But yeah, guys, I think that's where we're gonna wrap up the show. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like on the video, share it around, and yeah, we'll see you for the